Hey guys, JK Wargames. So today we're going to play Last 100 Yards again, but this time we are playing a armoured vehicle tank scenario. And the scenario is Mission 5, Counterattack at Hatton. So we have 2 platoons of American tanks, which is 11 steps, and we have a 3rd tank platoon and 1 Stug G for the Germans. Now, I've done the first turn for the Americans because they had the initiative. They only rolled for 1 platoon, so they could only activate 1, and these guys have moved up. Now, they start the game in motion, so they get a motion marker on them, but I have checked line of sight. This guy on top of this hill here does not have line of sight. There are blind hexes because of the level of this woods. And the same over there. So these tanks are still concealed. These German tanks that are in covered terrain, such as hills or woods over there, they are still concealed because the Americans don't have line of sight to them. These guys are in wooden buildings, so they are not concealed, but the Americans still don't have line of sight at the moment. So we're going to the Germans' reaction phase, and as they don't have line of sight, the only thing they can do for an armoured vehicle is go into motion if they want to, but they can't move from the hex. So I'm going to put this guy here into motion and this tank here into motion, but the other tanks will stay still. So the Germans will throw back to the Americans. So the platoon, 2nd platoon, are going to come on, and they can only move on. So the 2nd tank platoon can move because they are already in motion, so an optional reaction, they can still move because they count as being in motion at the start of the turn. So we're limited to 2 vehicles per hex as a stack. So this first group's coming in and they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to here, which is a little bit risky, but we have a plan. The next one is 2 armoured vehicles again, 2 Sherman M4As coming in. Now they're in motion. Now normally vehicles can go 5, but because these guys are reacting, they can only go 4. So these guys are going to come around the woods here. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're just off a camera down here, you can't see them. And then our single last guy is going to drive straight up the middle of the field, why not? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll call for reaction from the Germans. So now this German here is going to try and fire at the guy that just came on, but we have a problem. He's on a hill, and in this scenario hills are ×2, so he's at level 1, so it's actually a level 2. He has woods here which potentially blocks his line of sight, so we count the hexes. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then we look up to see how many blind hexes are behind that. So the difference in levels of woods is 1, so the hill is 2, so it's a difference of 1, and we said it's 1, 2, 3 away. 1 with 3 away is 2 blind hexes behind the woods, so we got 1, 2, so he can see him easily. So let's see what he needs then. So he now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is the Panzer IV with a range of 24. So there's no modifier for that, so it's just going to be a modifier for the motion marker. So his gun rating of 5 goes down to a 4. So we'll put that on the tank, and the first shot of the game is fired from the Panzer IV. Now, he gets a 4 like that. Now, does he lose his concealment? It says here, a vehicle loses concealment if it manoeuvres into or fires from a covered terrain hex within 8 hexes and line of sight of an enemy unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he loses that concealment now. He is not concealed. Okay, that's fine. And obviously this guy is not concealed. And also, he can see across to this guy, so he won't have concealment. But the guy down here off camera does have concealment. Okay, so that Panzer IV reacted. This Panzer down here on the left, he can only go into motion because he doesn't start in motion. So he's just going to go like that into motion. And the guy across the way isn't going to do anything. So that's the end of that turn. So fire resolution. So we're going to roll for the Americans here. We've got a +4. So we rolled a 1. It's 5. He's absolutely fine because his armor rating is a 10. So no effect. That comes off. Okay, so we're going to roll for initiative. And the Americans have a +1 on initiative. So, they both rolled a 4, but the Americans get their +1 to make it 5. So the Americans have the initiative again. And the casualty difference for this is the Americans have 4 as the attacker, and the Germans have 2 as the defender. So we're now rolling for coordination, and the Americans have +1. So he rolls a 3, +1 is 4. It's still only enough to activate 1 platoon. So we're going to activate this second platoon first. This guy here is going to fire at the Panzer IV that revealed himself on the hill. So he is going to... Okay, so this Sherman here is going to fire at the Panzer IV on the hill. We know we have line of sight because the Panzer IV had line of sight back to him. Now, he has to perform a halt and fire. So when you fire, you have to either do a shoot and scoot or a halt and fire action. So what we're going to do here is a halt and fire action. So I can either maneuver action, allowing vehicle that is in motion to stop and fire in its current hex, or maneuver into an adjacent hex, stop and fire. So he's just going to stop and fire because we definitely know he has line of sight from there. There's going to be no modifier, it's just going to be the range. So he's got a range of 21, and we know he's 8 hexes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with 21 is a -1. So his 2 goes down to a 1. So that's a 1 marker on the Panzer IV. Let's find a 1 marker. Here we are. That's a 1 marker on him. He has activated. So this guy is just going to move. Well, there's 2 of them there stacked, but they're going to move. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're going to tuck up right behind that woods. So no one's got line of sight to them. And the guy off camera then will move up. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's just going to sit there in the woods. So that's that platoon activated. So we'll call for reaction from the German player. Now, the only guy that had line of sight was the Panzer IV on the hill. So he's going to fire back at this Sherman. So again, he would have a 5 marker on him. There's no penalty for a motion marker because the red means he's stopped now, so it's fine. So he's just got 1 marker on him, so it will go down to a 4 because he is under fire. Okay, can anyone else react here? Well, they can not react at the moment because they do not have line of sight. So we'll call back for reaction from the American player, and this guy here is going to perform a maneuver. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, just sit on the edge of that woods. Does he lose concealment though? Because he's definitely in line of sight for the Panzer IV. Maneuvers into or fires from a cover train hex within 8 hexes. Yep, so he loses that concealment. Okay, well, actually, I'm just thinking, was he able to do that because he didn't have, did he have line of sight? I'm not sure. I can't remember, guys, so we'll say he had line of sight so he could do that. Ooh. So the next thing then is call for reaction from the German player. This Panzer IV here now has line of sight through to this guy on the edge of the woods. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's 8 away with 24. We know that is no modifier, so it's just -1 for the motion marker. So it goes down to a 4. So we'll find a 4 marker. So he receives a 4 there like that. So he's activated. Now this guy here does have line of sight now, because this thick line is the hill. This line does not block line of sight. Let me double check that though. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't think it does. So I think we're fine. So he's actually going to maneuver. So he's in motion. Oh, actually, sorry, this guy, you can't just shoot like that. This guy is going to perform a halt and fire. So he has just stopped in his hex. Because he's in the wooden buildings, he will get hull down in there. So this Panzer IV here is going to move, and he is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, which is a bit crazy, but I'm just want to play this through and demonstrate how this all works to you guys. Okay, so we're now call for reaction from the American player. So the American player now has line of sight. This tank here has line of sight to him. Now he is within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's going to lose his concealment now. Vehicle is an open train and enemy unit maneuvers within 10 hexes. Well, he's not an open train. Sorry guys, I'm just reading. Well, he's going to lose it because he's going to fire anyway. So, yeah, he's going to lose that. And he's going to fire at the Panzer IV. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. And he has a 5 with 24. So it's no effect, so just -1. So that's going to be a 4 marker. So let's find our 4 marker. Here it is. So that Panzer IV takes that. Now this guy is going to move because he is in motion. Because he's still in motion, he can do that. So he's going to move into the woods here. So he's going to go just there, which counts as 2. And he's still concealed because this guy does not have line of sight to him, and this guy over here does still not have line of sight to him. Okay, call for reaction from the German player. He does not have anything else to react with. So this guy here is going to go into motion, in fact, because he can do that as an optional reaction. So there we go. And this guy here will call for reaction to the American player. This guy is our company. No, it's not. I'm not sure where our company commander is at the moment. So he's going to move. And he's in motion at the moment. So he is going to swing around like this. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Which is another crazy move. But we're hoping that he gets the initiative next turn. Now, does he lose his concealment? Yes, he does, because that enemy unit is within 10 hexes. So that's the end of the activation phase. Straight to the fire resolution phase. So, Germans first. So the Stug on the hill has a +1. Oh, he's rolled a 10 plus 11. Sorry, +1 is 11. He is destroyed. That is more than his armor of 10. So he is destroyed. That is 1 casualty for the Germans. So we move the track to there. And remember, the Germans only have 2. Okay, so that was a nice shot from the Americans. And then this guy here has a +4. This is dangerous for the Germans. He's rolled an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is another tank destroyed because he has a 9. You see that there? If that's going to focus. Come on. Yeah, he has a 9. So he's been destroyed. So that's 2 casualties. We're now going to roll for the Americans. So +4 here. Actually, it should be no, it's +4. And 1 is a 5, so no effect. And here we have +4. 3, so 4, 5, 6, 7. No effect. The Americans get away with it. So that's the end of that turn. Oh, and we've done it again. We didn't roll for time at the end of the first turn. I do that every time. So the first turn's time was 5 minutes because we rolled a 9. And now we're going to roll for time for this turn, which is a 6, which gives us 4 minutes. So we've got a total of 9 minutes, but we -6 off that because of the German casualties. Okay, so they're going to roll for initiative. Remember, the Americans have +1. And the Americans have the initiative again. Into the next turn. Okay, so the Americans are going to roll for their coordination for platoons. They get a +1 on this in this scenario. They've rolled a 3, +1 is 4. No, so they can only activate 1 single platoon. So we're going to go with the second platoon, yeah. So these guys here will fire across at this guy here, that red marker. All red markers are removed at the end of a turn, so that shouldn't be there. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away with 24. So that's a -1. No, it's not. It's no effect. But it's going to be -1 because he's in a building hex. So he's hold down. So that's a -1. So it's going to be a 3 marker. So let's find a 3 marker. There we go. And then the other guy in that stack underneath, so this guy fired, this guy's going to maneuver, so he has to spend, well, he's all counts as already in motion, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, like so, just so he's got cover here. So we'll put a motion marker on him. This guy is going to perform, oh sorry, and this guy again, I do that every time, this guy done a halt and fire, so he now, can he move back into there? I get this wrong every time. Let's have a look. Halt and fire, manoeuvre action allowing vehicle that is in motion to stop and fire in its current hex or manoeuvre into an adjacent hex, stop and fire. Well, he wouldn't have line of sight if he'd done that, so that's fine. This guy here is going to do a halt and fire. He's going to move into an adjacent hex, like so, stop, and then fire at this guy here. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, so that is not going to make any difference. He's got a motion marker which is -1, so he's on a 2, so we're now on a 1, and it's another 1 because it's opportunity fire, because we did not have line of sight when we first activated our halt and fire action, so we're on a 0 marker. I really like this tank combat, it really is quite cool. So that's a 0 marker they've activated. The rest of second platoon then, this guy down here, he's going to do the same thing. He will perform a, what will he do? He's going to perform halt and fire action. So he's moving into an adjacent hex, he's stopping and then firing at the same target here. Maybe if I push this down a bit you guys can see. There we go. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. 7 away with 21 is no effect, but it's -1 for the motion marker. So that takes it down to a 1, and opportunity fire takes it down to a 0. So now, because there are more than one vehicle here, this goes on to the vehicle underneath, like so. It's spread out like that. And this guy here, he is not in motion, so, but he's not reacting here, he's part of a platoon, so he can spend 1 manoeuvre point to go into motion. Then he's going to move up to the woods, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. He doesn't have enough movement points to get into there because that costs double. So we'll call for reaction from the German player. So this guy has line of sight to here, and he has line of sight to here. Now this guy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So he's going to go for him. So he's on a 5, -1 for his marker is a 4, and -1 for his motion is a 3. So it's a 3 marker. If we can find a 3. Yep. So that's a 3 marker there. And he actually is performing a shoot and scoop. Because he's not in motion, he's going to go into motion. And he's going to stay in that hex, but he's going to go into motion. So that was his shoot and scoop. What else? This guy does have line of sight now, so he's going to fire at this guy here. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's have a look what he's got. So he definitely uses that concealment now. Oh, no. I thought there were 2 tanks there. It was a concealment marker. So both of those tokens go on him. My mistake. So he has 2 markers on him, but 2 markers still only counts as a -1. So he's got -1 for that and a -1 for being in that woods, which puts it down to a 2. So it's a 2 marker on that. So let's find that. So many markers, I can't find it. There it is. So there we go. This guy over the way does not have anything to react at the moment. So let's put our camera back up like this. So now we're called for reaction from the American player. So the American player has this guy stuck out in the open. So he is going to... So you're going to do... He's going to move. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, like that. So guys, the first platoon up here, he's going to perform a halt and fire action. So he's going to move into an adjacent hex, stop, and fire at this guy over here. So he loses that concealment marker. Now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's 6 away with 24, so he's fine. But he has a motion marker which takes it down to a 4, and it's opportunity fire because he did not have line of sight before he started his action. So it's going to be a 3 marker then. So we'll put a 3 marker on it. I think the Germans could be close to folding here, because remember, they're on their limit. So, and they have to roll first because the Americans have the initiative. So this guy is going to react, but he hasn't seen anything in line of sight. Oh, he has actually. No, he hasn't. So he's just going to move. So he'll move 1, 2, 3 into that wood line. So, have the Germans reacted with everything? No. This guy over here then is going to fire back at the guy on the edge of the woods. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he has a marker on him. Now he's going to lose his concealment. So it's 5, goes down to a 4 because of his marker, and goes down to a 3 because he's in those woods. So that's a 3 marker for him. And then we're going to roll 4. Okay, now we're going to go into the fire resolution phase. So this is important for the Germans. Here we go then. So the guy in this building has a +3. He rolls an 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, he's a 9. So he has been destroyed, and that pushes the Germans over their casualty limit. So it is an American victory, but we will just see what happens with these other tanks, because, well, I say it's a German victory, but technically the casualty limit could come back down. But the way the rules are written, once that side goes over it, it is the end of the game. So it is an American victory. But let's just see what happens with these other units. So up the top there, +3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So no effect. He would be fine. And 2 0 markers down here. Well, that's a 10. That's a destroyed unit. And the other marker, yeah, so you take the best one. That would be another destroyed tank. The Americans have a +2 here. They roll a 3, 4, 5. They have a +3 here. 4, 5, 6, 7, so they're fine. And a +3 over the back. They roll a 1. So the Americans take no damage at all. They wipe the floor with the Germans. So let's have a look at the casualty track. Let's take you over. You can see there, look. They've gone over their limit. But let's just roll for time because that is the end of the turn. And we've rolled a 9. So that is 5 minutes. So we are on 10, 14 minutes. So the Americans kept within 25 because we -9 off that now. They kept within 25 and they win the battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's just a look at the tank combat from last 100 yards. I'm really enjoying the game. I've reached over 1,000 subscribers now. So I'm really chuffed about that. Thanks to everyone. Make sure to comment, like and subscribe if you're new. There's more reviews coming on the way. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.